Hey everybody, it's your pal Wes, and we are back with another glorious variety clip episode with some of our favorite modular friends. This time, we're taking a look at their favorite modulation sources. One of the greatest strengths of the modular format is the massive degree of flexibility and precision that you have when wiggling around your voltages. Modulation sources like LFOs, envelope followers, sequencers, function generators, and everything in between allow you this huge degree of nonlinear performability in the way that you create sounds and control your patches. The depth of possibilities available to you in the way that you wield your modulation are, in my opinion, what sets modular apart from every other format in terms of power and ease of use. You can create movement or musical events effortlessly and interact with them and apply them to nearly any aspect of your patch. But without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to some of our friends and let them show you some of their favorite modules and some techniques that they use to get really juicy stuff out of them.
Hi everyone, Omri here. I want to show you a few things I love about the Maleko voltage block and why I think it's an amazing modulation source. I have here a sequence coming from the Varigate 8+, also Maleko by the way, and they work really nicely together, but this is something for a different video. So I have here a sequence sequencing the Pony VCO from the Faco. I have here a decay envelope opening the VCA of the Pony VCO. Right, and I can change the timbre. This is also going through a delay with the Ghost from Endorphins. Right, but the first thing we can do with the voltage block is record movement, record modulation just by moving the fader. So if, for example, let's say that I want to modulate the timbre of the Pony VCO, right, and I want to easily create a sequence, just record the movement. Let me move here to this camera. I just move the fader and it will automatically record the modulation. Right, so now it recorded this movement and we have repetitive modulation. Another thing I really like about the voltage block is the fact that we have 8 different channels and each channel can run with the individual clock division and also with a different number of steps. So let's say that I want to modulate the decay of this envelope. I will use the second channel. Right, I can select the second channel and let's say that I want it to have only 7 steps. Right, so now we have a 7-step sequence. I can quickly create a sequence just by randomizing the notes. And I can set it to have a clock division of 2, for example, really easily, really quickly. Right, so now we have a 16-step sequence from the Varigate, but we have 7-step modulation with a clock division of 2. Modulating the decay. Right, and you could see it's really easy, really quickly I could create this modulation source. We can also have random modulation coming from the voltage block. So I have here another voice which is coming from the STO going through the waves filter from After Later Audio, sort of a bass. Right, and let's say that I want to modulate the filter, but I want it to have random modulation. Right, so first of all, I'm going to send this to I'll use another channel, and I'm going to send this to the scope, and you will see soon enough why this is already going to the filter. Right, so all I have to do is randomize the notes and set them also to run randomly. So now we have a random modulation source. You can see this on the scope, and if I open here the attenuator, right, now let's say that I don't want a step modulation source, I want it to be smooth, so I can add also glide between the notes, which will turn this, and I can choose which notes of course, but I will choose all of them and this will turn it into a smooth random modulation source, and again you can see this here on the scope. I have here another voice coming from Neoni, going through the X-band for volume control. Right, and I can use, this is also going through the mimeophone, but I can use the voltage block also as a macro controller. So let's say I would like to use channel 8. If I set it to have only one step, I can use now this fader to send offset as a macro controller. So let's say first of all, I will mult this, because again I would like to send it to multiple destinations. First of all, I will send it to the fold amount of Neoni. Then I will send it to the sort of VCA I have here on the X pen. Right, so the louder the signal, the brighter it will be also. Right, something like this. Now I can use also another copy to control the mix of the mimeophone and also the repeats or the feedback. And now we get something like this. Right, so I have also a macro controller. So again, I have recorded modulation, I have different length and different clock division, I have smooth random modulation, and I can also use it as a macro controller. So you can see why I really like the voltage block. And again, there are 8 channels, and there are many more features that I didn't show you. But it's definitely one of my favorite modules. Thank you again, Perfect Circuit, for having me on. Cheers.
Hey there, everyone. I hope you're all doing good. I'm Stazma, and I'm here for Perfect Circuit Audio to talk to you about my favorite modulation source in eurorack, which has been the 26060 source of uncertainty by Buchla and Tip Top Audio, at least at the moment. I'm showing it to you today inside my Buchla suitcase, which is my dedicated system for this, but you could actually use it in any other situation and it will be probably as useful. So here I have a 2-voice patch driven by the T1 over there. It's all clocked from here. And I'm going to show you how I like to use the source of uncertainty to spice up a simple patch like this. First thing, one thing I really like to do is to patch the fluctuating random voltages to the wave shapes of the oscillators. Like one going sort of fast, the other one very slow. Gives a nice movement to things. One thing I really like to use the quantized random voltages for is to create random events. So I leave it at 1 here at the minimum setting, and I will use this output as a random gate. And could be for a number of reasons. Let's, for example, let's patch this. One channel of my QMMG in high-pass mode. It will be sent into this channel now. And I will take the output of this channel to another output. I will control the VCA of this output with this random gate. Once in a while, it's there. Also, why not using this pulse that is a bit lower in voltages than this one to create accent on one of our envelope generator. So this one, once in a while, will be longer. I also really like to divide time. So I will use this one, which is already a random division of our main clock, to clock the stored random voltages. This one will be stepped much more than the other one. Let's use it to control, let's say, the decay of our other envelope. If we think it's too much, we can use this output, which lets us dial in the voltage. On this way, it will be more lower. The lower the register of the voltage, in the middle, and here high voltages. Yeah, let's go for the lowest one. We also have noise in there. So let's take one of the noise, patch it to a crossfader here. Let's take the output here, our oscillator on the other side of this crossfader. And let's use that voltage that we are not using to step between the oscillator and the noise before it goes to the high-pass filter. We could also make more stepped voltages by sending a pulse to the sample and hold here. Let's patch one of the fluctuating random voltages as the CV in, and the result will be sent to control the frequency of the high-pass filter. And we could keep going on like this. It's already a spaghetti fest over there, but you see the concept. From a simple sequence that we had before that I will play again now, using the magic of video editing, now we have this. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
aka the Unperson, and I want to talk about my favourite modulation source, the module that's been in my rack for the longest time, the grandfather of utilities, Make Noise Maths. At first glance, it's not exactly obvious what Maths does, but that's because it's designed in a way that allows it to be many different things. It can be used in very complex ways, but for now let's take a look at the basics. Maths has 4 channels, and channels 1 and 4 are essentially looping envelopes, and channels 2 and 3 are just attenuators. Along the top we have our inputs, along the bottom there are various outputs, and there are some modulation destinations on the left and right. In this current patch, I'm using channel 4 of Maths as a filter envelope, and Maths has some of the snappiest envelopes in the game, and that's all thanks to this logarithmic exponential control that allows you to get super tight. You can shape the envelope with the rise and fall controls. Both of which are modulatable, and I'm quite partial to throwing a sample and hold into the fall input for some random filter fun. Another way that you can use Maths is as a control voltage processor. I've got the pitch coming out of my sequencer, but instead of going directly into the oscillator, I'm going to run it through channel 1 of maths and use the rise and fall controls to shape the pitch information. Let's bring in some delay. And we may as well have a kick. Can be quite the hands-on performance tool, but I've barely scratched the surface of what it can actually do. It can be an LFO, it can be an oscillator, it has crazy audio rate modulation, and you can even self-patch it in wild ways that would make a quantum physicist blush. So I hope you've enjoyed my brief look at this very complex module, and I'll catch you all later.
Well, that about wraps it up. Those are 3 excellent examples of phenomenal modulation sources, but that only scratches the surface. We took a quick look at some sequencer-based stuff, a random function generator, and maths, of course, the all-time big daddy of function generators. You can check out all of these creators. Their links are going to be in the description. You can check out what they've been up to, the cool sounds they make, and hey, give them a like, give them a follow, smash that like button on this video, and we will see you next time.